This is a video that independent hearing aid clinics probably do not want me to publish. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. In this video, I'm going to share my top 5 things that you should expect if you spend big money on hearing aids. So recently, I engaged in an online discussion with another hearing care professional who works at Costco. Now, typically when I have these discussions, it's because I said something about Costco hearing centers and they took offense to it. After all, a large percentage of patients inside of my clinic are former Costco hearing aid users who all share the same frustrations about Costco, and it's really hard for me not to share their stories online. Now, to be fair, there's probably a lot of clinicians who work at Costco who are very good at what they do, so anytime that I say something negative about Costco, I can see why they'd be upset. Typically, these discussions conclude with them saying that Costco dispenses high-quality hearing aids at a lower price point, and that independent hearing aid clinics charge significantly more and may not achieve a higher level outcome. And you know what? They are 100% correct. That's why in this video, I want to explain why you should never spend a lot of money on hearing aids without these 5 expectations. But before I tell you what these expectations are, do me a huge favor and click the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. And let me know in the comment section if you have ever felt like you didn't get what you paid for when you purchased a pair of hearing aids. Now, there is no limit to what you can spend on prescription hearing aids nowadays. I've seen patient invoices that range anywhere from $1,600 up to $13,000 for a pair of devices. At the low end of this range, you'll typically have places like Costco, online websites, and discount hearing aid retailers that sell off-brand hearing aids. At the high end of this range, you'll typically have independent hearing aid clinics, hospital groups, ENT groups that all sell name brand premium hearing aids, or you may even have franchise or retail hearing aid chains that sell white label hearing aids. Now, if you're going to go the low cost route, I generally recommend that you go in with low expectations, which I've been told is the key to happiness. And if you end up having a satisfactory treatment outcome going the low cost route, that's terrific. It just means that the hearing aid gods are looking out for you. However, if you go the high cost route, your expectations should be significantly higher and include the following. First is a significant amount of time that you spend with your hearing care professional. A typical independent or chain hearing aid clinic will spend around 30 to 60 minutes with you for an initial hearing evaluation and treatment recommendation. Their hearing aid fitting will typically take around 30 minutes, and you may get 1 to 2 follow-up visits that last anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. Over the rest of the first year of your care, you may receive anywhere between 0 and 2 follow-up visits, typically lasting anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes again. However, if you're spending upwards of $6,000 to $9,000 on hearing aid treatment, you should be spending significantly more time with your hearing care professional than that. Your initial comprehensive hearing evaluation and consultation should take anywhere between 90 and 120 minutes. Your hearing aid fitting should take anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes, with anywhere between 3 and 4 structured follow-up visits that can take up to an hour apiece. Not to mention any additional visits at your request if you run into any unexpected issues. Is this a lot of additional time that a hearing care professional should be spending with you compared to a typical clinic? The answer to that is clearly yes, but that should be your expectation when you spend a lot of money on treatment. The second thing that you should expect is an excellent clinician who knows what they're doing. I remember going to a conference where the person up on stage asked everybody to raise their hand if they felt that they were an above average clinician compared to everyone who was in attendance. And every single one of those 800 clinicians raised their hand, myself included, and we know that it is statistically impossible for every person in that audience to be above average, including myself. But it just goes to show that if you ask someone if they're excellent at what they do, they're going to tell you yes, even if that's not true. Now, you should know by now that I do not differentiate between audiologists and hearing instrument specialists. Either your clinician is really good and they know what they're doing, or they don't know what they're doing. And if you're going to spend good money on hearing aids, your clinician should be one of the good ones. So how exactly do you spot the good clinicians? Well, I have a few ideas here, so make sure that you take out a pen and paper and write these down. First and foremost, the hearing care professional should follow a person-centered care approach, meaning that they get to know your wants, needs, and values before making a treatment recommendation. These clinicians will be able to explain detailed and complex test results in a way that you can easily understand. They will be able to explain the differences between a variety of hearing aid brands, features, and capabilities, as well as other technologies such as cochlear implants, bone-anchored hearing aids, and even auditory brainstem implants. And perhaps even an understanding of different types of surgical procedures that would be required for certain types of hearing losses. If you have a really good one, they may even be able to give you an understanding of the research behind hearing loss and dementia, and even the progress on hair cell regeneration therapies. They will also encourage joint decision making between you, your family members, and themselves. They're also able to explain what hearing aid adjustments they're making and why, so you have an understanding of what they're trying to accomplish, even if you're not the type of person who typically understands technical information. This next one's a big one. They will constantly be digging to see if they can identify any other areas of improvement in your hearing treatment, even if you report that everything's going fine. And they will always be open to challenging their own strategies to see if they can get you better performance as time goes on. And the last sign of an excellent clinician is someone that you genuinely enjoy working with. Now, if you liking the clinician is the only thing that makes you believe that they're excellent, then that's not a good clinician. That is someone who's just a nice guy. And in my opinion, being a nice guy is not enough justification to spend a lot of money on hearing aids. Now, if you'd like an easy way to find one of these excellent clinicians that are out there, I highly recommend that you go to my website, hearingup.com, and find a Hearing Up Network member in your area. That being said, the third thing that you should expect when you spend big money on hearing aids is additional support staff that can assist you when your hearing care professional is not available. Now, some clinics are relatively small, boutique clinics, and if they don't have any support staff, that's not a big deal because they're not massively busy. But if you're going to a busier clinic like mine, they should have some additional support staff to provide you with assistance either by phone or in person, and that assistance should take no longer than 24 hours to get. I've heard horror stories from some of my patients who transferred care to my clinic after their original clinic said that it was going to take 2 weeks to fix a basic hearing aid issue. Now, like I said, I run an extremely busy hearing aid clinic with multiple clinicians that are in very high demand, so they cannot always see their patients if they run into unexpected issues. But this is exactly why we have audiology assistants on staff and front office staff to help assist the hearing care professionals when they're unavailable. This way, we can solve emergency issues right away, oftentimes same day. And if a support staff member identifies that an audiologist is needed, they can prioritize the scheduling of that patient to make sure that they get the problem solved sooner rather than later. The point is, if you go to a hearing aid clinic and you spend a lot of money on hearing aids, you should expect that they have the ability to service you very quickly if you run into an issue, and oftentimes that means that you need to have the expectation that they have support staff to help you. Now, the fourth thing that you should expect if you spend big money on hearing aids is a hearing care professional who follows comprehensive audiologic best practices. Best practices are a series of considerations and procedures proven by research that must be followed by your hearing care professional in order to ensure that you hear your absolute best with your hearing aids. Best practices encompass every aspect of your hearing treatment, from your initial consultation through to your follow-up care after you've been treated. These best practices include things like speech and noise testing during your hearing evaluation, real ear measurement to verify that your programming is meeting your hearing loss prescription, diagnostic test box measures, and validation outcome measures. And these are only 4 of the many best practices that your hearing care professional should be following. If you'd like to see what all of these best practices are, you can also go to my website, hearingup.com, and download the best practice checklist. This way you can make sure that your hearing care professional who's charging a lot of money for hearing aids is actually doing what you're paying them to do. If you're spending a lot of money on hearing aids, you have to remember that the majority of that money is in the professional services, not the devices. And if you're not receiving best practice audiologic care, you are definitely overpaying, because it is impossible for you to hear your absolute best if best practices are not followed. And the fifth and final expectation that you should have if you spend big money on hearing aids is significantly better hearing performance. In my opinion, it is dumb to spend a lot of money on hearing aids if you're not receiving significantly more benefit from those devices compared to buying hearing aids from a low-cost retailer. And I'm telling you this as an independent clinic owner that charges more than most other clinics do. The fact of the matter is, if my clinic or any clinic that charges thousands of dollars for hearing treatment is not able to give you a significantly better treatment outcome, then we don't deserve to stay in business anyway. You can always find someone who will sell you hearing aids for less money, and if your top priority is saving as much money as possible, you should probably go that route. However, if your top priority is to hear your absolute best, chances are you'll probably have to spend more money to achieve that. But you cannot guarantee better performance just by spending more money. The biggest reason I started this channel is because individuals would spend a lot of money on hearing treatment, but the results just weren't very good. So at the end of the day, the that Costco professional that I was messaging back and forth with was absolutely right. If you go to an independent clinic, a hospital group, an ENT group, or a chain retail clinic that's charging you a lot of money for hearing aids, and they don't spend a significant amount of time with you, you don't get to work with an excellent clinician who knows what they're doing, they don't have support staff who can solve unexpected issues quickly for you, the clinician doesn't follow comprehensive audiologic best practices, and they ultimately are not able to achieve a significantly higher treatment outcome, then you might as well just save your money and go to Costco or another discount hearing aid retailer. But if you ask me, I think that no matter how much money you spend on hearing treatment, you should prioritize your hearing because your hearing's important. And you should never settle for anything less than hearing your absolute best. But I want to hear from you. Do you agree that if you spend significantly more money on hearing treatment that you should actually get a significantly better treatment outcome? Let me know it down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.